to the kitchen of creativity for another very special episode of Hook Cooks, the improvised storytelling podcast guaranteed to feed a hunger you didn't know you had. I am Mitch, the Monster Chef.
My name is Dishbot, and tonight I will play the role of Jack.
I'm Connor, your larder critter.
And tonight we would like to welcome a very special guest chef into the kitchen. When he's not busy being Bill Hader's award-winning HBO show, he's starring in the improv storytelling podcast Blockblunders, a podcast that I understand is for anyone who's ever seen a movie and thought to themselves, wow, that's not what I thought that was going to be about. Please give your hookiest, cookiest welcome to Barry.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh my God, I was expecting rounds of applause to come after that. That was awesome.
We'll do those in post.
Yeah. We'll get the crowd sounds in. So tell us a bit about Blockblunders.
Oh, well, it's so Blockblunders is a comedy podcast. We try to guess the plot of a film we've never seen. So one of us has seen the film, one of us hasn't, and we blunder our way as best we can.
Well, thank you for making time for us here in the kitchen. It is time to roll up our sleeves for another shift here in the Hook Cook kitchen. My fellow chefs and our guests will be presenting submissions based on a pre-prepared prompt, this time provided by our guest chef, Barry. Together, the four of us will whip up a world, characters, and a story just for you before serving up a radio play segment that we call The Plate Up. If you do have a prompt of your own, you can send that through to cooksofhooks@gmail.com or reach out to us on the socials with @hook_cooks. Chefs, BFFs, and guest. Let's get cooking. Now, I'm brimming with excitement, Barry, so please reveal to me the prompt that you have prepared for us this evening.
Ooh, the prompt this evening is Synapse on tap.
Ooh,
Synapse on tap.
On tap.
Yes.
Synapse on tap.
Ooh,
I went with the ever, the always the solid foundations of going for rhyming words.
Rhyming, very
Yeah.
good,
Very
and
good.
appealing to the frothy enthusiast in me, pouring out a nice bit of Synapse. I am excited to dive into this one.
Sounds
around
like a nice
here,
craft beer, actually.
Oh, I would have Synapse on tap very happily. Give me a schooner. Before we do sink our teeth, or rather drink a long neck of this main submission, it's time for the best before yesterdays. The first thoughts, the worst thoughts. Since you are our guest, Barry, would you like to start us off?
Oh, well, I mean, I had a few more best before yesterdays than I had for other things, but this is what I'm putting forward. Here we go.
Okay.
It's Synapse on tap, the most refreshing way to relive cherished memories.
Ah, okay. So it's like a memory drink.
Yeah. Yours or others.
Or others.
Or others is very interesting.
This could be huge for the NSA. We could finally really bust open some cases if we could drink people's brains.
We're always looking for things that are huge for the NSA, and they're always listening. So,
Well, they're the one fan we know won't miss an episode because they're always watching. Okay, best before yesterday's. What about yourself, Mitch? What have you got?
all right. Synapse on tap. This is how I'm going to start referring to my epileptic doggo when he's seizure-free, because if 4 years of neuroscience has taught me anything, it's that at its core, a seizure is your synapses going off tap.
Going off tap.
Yeah.
It started so dark.
So your epileptic dog is an example of synapse off tap.
Only when he's having a seizure. I mean, he's
Okay.
seizure-free, you know.
Yeah, and your dog post-epilepsy will be Synapse on tap.
He's on tap at the moment. That's
Okay.
he's on tap. It's just when it's off tap.
Right, so he hasn't fallen off the synapse wagon.
You can measure whether he is on or off tap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's always good to be reminded of your dog's epilepsy.
I mean, I thought comedy, my dog, he's cute. Blend them together.
Always start with killing off the cute animals.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, it's very survivable.
All right, Jack, your best before yesterday. What do you got?
All right, Synapse on tap. From the company that bought you the Limitless pill and whatever it was that Scarlett Johansson had in that one movie where she unlocked her brain capacity comes Synapse on tap. We'll deliver a keg of potent neurochemicals straight to you, wherever you are, 24/7, worldwide, so you can party down and truly understand the peak of human potential. Grab a keg of our new Synapse Double Blacks now and reach beyond the pale divide between this life and the next as you become one with the cosmos. Synapse on tap. Fulfill your party potential.
The almost threat that this is available in any location at
wherever
any
you
time.
are.
Wherever you are.
Anytime.
Almost instantly.
Yeah, because
is-
it's provided by the NSA.
I was about to say it has to be another NSA joint, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Well, with those behind us, with the best before yesterdays well served and done, it's time to move on to the main submissions, what we like to call the meat and potatoes. Now, the chefs and our guests have had plenty of time to prepare, so without further ado, Jack, please present first your meat and potatoes.
Alrighty, here we go. The zombie apocalypse came, like all zombie apocalypses do, pretty quick. One day, the sun shone on a world full of busy people, scurrying from one place to another, and the next it shone on a shambling horde of undead, dragging their decrepit remains ever onwards in search of their next meal. For the survivors, times were hard. Hard enough for a few to question who the real Walking Dead were. Luckily, they all died off pretty much straight away, and what was left were the types of people who make a situation work for them. And that is exactly the type of person that Moira is, which is exactly why she opened Synapse on Tap, the post-apocalypse's one-stop shop for brainy beers and cerebrum-based cocktails, serving a zombie-only clientele. Times were good. Moira served her customers, and in return, they didn't tear her to shreds and eat her innards, which is just the way she liked it. But soon, Moira's once seemingly limitless supply of fresh brains began to grow thin, and her eyes turned to the big city on the horizon, just as her mind turned to the one thing a small business owner dreams of above all others: expansion.
So this is the tale of a brainy bar owner, and brainy being more in the product than in the design.
Yes.
This is Sweeney Todd meets zombies.
Yeah.
I love a world where zombies get bored and they start leisurely activities.
For sure.
Yeah. You know, I've been at a bar past 1 a.m. and what's the bloody difference?
Who's
you
the
what
real
you know what I'm
Walking
bloody
Dead,
saying,
right?
Bloody hell. Oof. Yep. Okay, I like this. A heady brew that you've concocted for us here. I think elements that will certainly be able to hopefully integrate into our final tale. But before I get too inebriated off of your pints of grey and pink potion that you're pouring out of these taps, let's move right along. Minch, please present your meat and potatoes.
Alrighty. Daniel J. Lewis has a problem. He's a fraud, a con man, a winker of hoods. He's not evil, per se, he just doesn't have a lot of marketable skills. Well, historically, he has had two quite marketable skills: identifying vulnerable people with more money than sense, and selling them Synapse, his miracle mind medicine. Sure, Synapse is mostly expired fruit juice, and the secret cogno-enhancing ingredient is crushed musk sticks, but it's not as if he's providing false hope for failing minds. He's no more villainous than a vitamin salesman. It says right there on the tin it's not a cure for anything. At least, it's not supposed to be. But on his monthly return to the Oakvale Aged Care Service, something has changed. The old people are smarter. And they don't seem too happy with him having taken advantage of them for some time. Stranger still, they seem to be connected, like an angry octogenarian hive mind. But surely that's impossible. He's got to get out of here. You've got to get out of here. And maybe figure out what the hell went wrong with the last keg of Synapse you tapped.
Okay. Okay,
So this
so
is
you're-
the world in
Unexpected
which
signs.
this is the world in which retirement homes let snake oil salesmen in.
Let me
And in
in,
fact, they
please.
welcome them.
Welcome to my mind palace.
It's a
Okay.
Thursday entertainment for the
Yeah.
elderly.
Yeah, okay. So
Swindle.
you've come in, you've peddled your snake oil. This is it's kind of an interesting tale. I like the idea of being a snake oil salesman, but you accidentally do provide
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah.
You know what else I'm loving at the moment is the idea of a zombie snake oil salesman selling bad brains to people.
Okay. Maybe a zombie snake oil salesman accidentally selling cure
for zombies.
You know. Okay. So again, another potion concocted here. Moving right along, our guest Barry, please present your meat and potatoes.
Well, get ready for a weird one. Nadia tapped. She tapped and tapped, and with every tap, a bolt of energy surged between herself and the audience. She clicked a heel here, slid the toe of her shoe just so, swaying the crowd to match her rhythm. She could feel it forming. Tonight would be a wonderful memory for them. The dance was intricate, but the crowd was full of people with comfortable lives. Comfortable lives were filled with pleasant memories, and those were easier to tap to. She felt the big finish approaching. The people were practically begging for her to end the tapping and leave their thoughts with a memory so sweet it would overshadow their wedding vows. But one nagging person had pushed their memory into her performance. Dark thoughts bubbled to the surface every now and then, but she could usually swipe a foot here and continue tapping as normal. This memory had not slid away, though. It wanted to be tapped. She searched the crowd for the miserable soul who was trying to ruin her performance. Her stare met a sad set of darker eyes, one she was almost certain she should remember.
Ooh.
Oh, I was hooked. I was. Yeah. Oh, okay.
So it's like she tap dances memories into an audience. That's really
She's
cool.
like a tap dancing bard that affects the memories. In my head, she pulls the memories, the good memories from people, kind of removes those and fills that memory with her performance.
Is she like vampiric or benevolent?
I think benevolent. I don't think I had a thought about that. Is she like taking power from these people? I don't think so. I think she's vain and wants people to leave only having having the best memory of their life be her performance.
Right. Okay. This
is interesting. I find it quite a compelling idea.
Maybe not benevolent.
Yeah, maybe not completely benevolent, but certainly not like malevolent.
She's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
She just wants to be the very best, like no one ever was, and who can fault her for that?
Wants you to forget about the birth of your first child, whatever.
Yeah. No, I love that.
I mean,
dance.
Okay. Well, we have several ingredients to try and mix with here. We've got brainy brews. We've got snake oil salesman in the aged care home, and we have a tap dancing performance. I think something that is uniting all of these is the idea of a central agent selling something, tricking, performing. You've all got kind of like, you've got one central person pulling some kind of con. Essentially, the snake oil character and the bar character are kind of blending in my head. And the memory element is something that I imagine that they would have happened upon incidentally, and that they realize via serving that's what's happening. And then they start to develop like, oh, I need good memories. I need to fill my kegs with memories. I need to kill every human and take their prey.
Yeah. How sold are we on this being in a zombie setting as opposed to it being like in a normal everyday life?
I guess
setting?
You could just be selling the
You're still selling brains.
Yeah.
You're just not telling anyone that they're brains. In a very Sweeney Todd
You're selling
kind of fashion, right?
a drink that has memories and things like that in it.
Let's be specific, is
brains.
Ground up ice brains.
Yeah.
It is
It's not a cold pressed brain.
For sure.
Okay.
But you're just not telling anyone what it is. And like they're getting like addicted to it.
It's Brainy Todd.
Brainy Todd.
Brainy Todd.
Do they get addicted to the pies in Brainy Todd? In Sweeney Todd?
Yeah.
They may as well. They're so dang good. Until you get a thumb in one. Okay.
Sounds a bit of crunch.
I like that. And Sweeney Todd as a central like reference is going to be useful for us. So and this is kind of a swerve on the kind of protagonist we'd normally introduce. And I'm into that. I'm kind of into that. It's
pretty
going to be
deeply
interesting.
Evil person.
We're doing a bad guy, right? Like that's okay. I like this. I think that we have something kind of interesting with this, like huckster that's selling people memory juice, or for the prevalence of the prompt, continuing to call it Synapse on tap. Let's say that we're this kind of bad bar owner.
Yeah.
How did we first produce this brainy brew?
Accidental murder.
That's good.
I like that accidental murder, and then you use like the brewing machine stuff to like dispose of the body.
Like,
Yeah, you
Distill
end
the
up
person.
Distill a whole person.
They'll never find them spread over hundreds of people over the city.
Exactly. If they're looking for the DNA, it's going to be pretty well dispersed.
Yeah. Just turn them into a slab.
just covered in blood. Like they'll never find it. Who did this? It's
Once I
I'm
clean
gonna
his
call
blood up,
this
it'll be
pig
perfect.
Alan for no reason.
you guys are gonna eat the evidence.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's the different. That's the different brews. Is just people's names.
Have you tried Tabitha? Okay, so I love that. It's like an act of murder. It's an act of murder. You've got a bar owner who's like, let's say the bar is failing, right? And somebody's
It's
there,
gotta
like,
be.
it's like a rent collector or someone there to close the bar. Or...
the funniest image just came to my head because we said like it's a rundown bar, but imagine like just in my head. Of course, it has to be because otherwise they've turned to these brains things. But it's like you're not a high end bar suddenly changing angle. Like,
what if,
we've
okay,
got
that's,
this.
aesthetically that's cool, right? And it would create more of an
It's real
illusion.
swanky.
Maybe it's like this person has invested everything and it is a swanky high-end bar. It's like a microbrewery,
Oh,
right?
no.
And this person has come through and they found like one thing wrong and they're going to dock them. And it's like the last strike or whatever for this really high-end brewery. And then they just push them into the vat like the Joker in 89.
Yeah.
And whoop, in you go, turned
He's
into
trying to explain, he's
payoff.
trying to like grab the clipboard from him, like, please no, don't sign it, don't
Yeah.
sign it, deeds.
Yeah,
I need a name.
And then
Yeah.
you go in.
We can
and
come
it's-
to some sort of arrangement.
And then he gets put in, and then he's like, okay, well, I've got to mask this. No
Yeah.
one can know this has happened. I just got to operate as normal,
Just
and I've
make
got all
the
these people
beer.
coming in, so I can't do anything about the beer. I'll just sell it, and then people start like, what, talking like this person, or like, what positive thing do they
Maybe,
get out of that?
They're listening to a conversation at the bar, and this person starts talking about like, "Oh, you've got to go and see the Himalayan mountains. It's like it's an experience you can't even describe." And then they go like, "Oh, when did you go there?" And he's, "I've never been." Like,
I don't know what came over me. I just remember falling into a vat.
That is maybe the one problem with like your entire business being around committing murder, and then like you bottle
You're
memories
right.
related to
It's gotta be like
one
happy
person's gonna have to get murdered when they get that memory.
For
yeah.
happy
whatever reason, I
memories.
think it's happy memories have to come out, right?
The distilling process, they're happy memories.
When has anyone had a bad memory drinking alcohol?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
never happened.
Yeah,
I think it's gotta be a little bit less like
specific.
specific and
Yeah.
black and white. It can't be like you have this guy's memory of when he was like a kid.
Yeah.
It's gonna be something
It's-
like in the flavor, maybe, or
Yeah, like you drink it and it makes you feel like feelings, maybe rather
Yeah.
than memories. It makes you feel
like you're looking at the Himalayas or something like that. And
Or
it's
that
fresh
you're-
air
yeah,
like
and crisp.
intense feeling of joy that he had in that moment.
It's like for like 10 seconds, so that's like
Yeah.
that's why people keep wanting to come back for another
Yeah,
hit.
it's like you
Totally.
get like a deep romantic nostalgia for like the smell of fresh hay for a few seconds, and you're almost able to imagine where it's from, but you can't describe it, and it's just kind of the distilling process again. It's like you're sampling someone else's passion for something that you have no passion for. Yeah, okay. Well, then we've kind of established you get like a romantic nostalgia, or like you sample the passion that someone else has for something. And, you know, like Barry said, that makes sense why people are coming back. It's like fleeting.
Yeah, and a new
momentary.
batch has a new flavor, right?
Yeah, and you would be like, you would have a new intense, passionate feeling about something.
And it encourages our hosts to go out and kill people with different
With
passions.
interesting lives.
Yeah.
yeah.
Ooh, we've created an interesting serial killer, haven't we?
We sure have.
Okay, well, we've got kind of a start. What do you think the kind of like loose kind of trajectory of this story is. Is it a story of comeuppance? Because we have created a monster.
Yeah, I don't know whether I don't know. There's like two minds in my head that goes. It's either like the people who, like kind of the government or someone gets involved of like, okay, this thing is wrong and it's ethically incorrect to do this, or there's the other angle where you've created a beast that can't be stopped. The people want in. They want they want memory juice 24/7. They want you like at the tap, bringing it to them whenever they need it.
PepsiCo gets on the line. Like,
like, we can kill people for you.
And you're just like, I wish I could stop, but they keep paying me, and like.
It's like, please, I've already got $7 billion. I can't anymore.
I feel bad about the murders, but they keep asking for more beer.
People are donating themselves to be murdered. They want it that bad. They're like, oh, give me to the people.
Okay, so I think the best comeuppance is that the character gets turned into beer.
Oh yeah,
and then someone like drinks their beer and they're like, "Wow, murdering's great."
I have a sudden deep nostalgia for murdering for profit.
Let's just say that our general trajectory is going to head toward our brainy Todd getting their comeuppance and being put into a vat themselves. To help us navigate toward that end, do you think that we might be able to pull up a side salad? It might give us a little bit of direction, and if we're in space, it's a good time to know that.
Yeah,
now.
for sure. Let's head on over to the side salad station where my mom Claire has assembled a veritable bounty of undiscovered, untold, and unseen prompts. We're going to pick one at random by spinning a big wheel, and whatever we get, we will incorporate into our meal. Here we go.
Perfect.
Okay. This is interesting. You've all been poisoned, and the bad guy has the cure.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, this is like probably something we can work with.
Yeah,
right?
I think this could go.
Okay, so
and what is like the poisoned?
The brain stuff is poisoning them, right?
Yeah, people start dying, right?
Or like people are starting to lose their memory. Like people, if it's like maybe if they're gaining these extra memories, they're like starting to. It's like pushing out. Or like people are rapid. The more they're drinking it, the more they're getting addicted to this feeling.
It would be like a high, right? Like it makes your other memories that you like less good.
Yeah.
Maybe it's slowly turning them into
Zombies.
You know,
zombie aligned. Yeah.
Bring it on back to where we're at, right?
Or octogenarians.
Or tap dancers.
They all learn tap. That's the poison, right?
This is very interesting. The octogenarian comment that you made, Jack, like that kind of makes sense. If your memories are being disrupted,
it's like
you're essentially giving people dementia, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Super fast dementia.
Sonic speed,
The interesting part for me about this side salad is that the bad guy has the cure. So
exactly, right?
Like what does that
the
mean?
question? I think what we have to ask
the cure is to not make it all.
Is our main character the bad guy, or is he the hero in his own story? And there's a bad guy who is like perhaps representative of the law or
PepsiCo
morals or PepsiCo.
So you've destroyed these people, right?
Yes.
And they're your Cheers regulars. And they come in completely almost unable to think or move.
Or
remember where they are.
Where everyone knows their name.
And the bad guy is like a hero who is there to restore their memories and has the cure.
But they think they can't remember it.
Okay, I think it's better for us to lean into the idea that we are the bad guy. I kind of like that. Yeah. I think it's a cool way to like interpret the prompt. Yeah. I think in terms of us having the cure, it's a bit too easy to say that the cure is stopping.
No.
Yes.
Do we do like the cure is that person like if they drink the owner?
How would that?
I was going to say if he could find some way to not kill a person, but like get their memories, then give it back to them.
Yeah. We could do that. It's a special, like it's just
or just really well brewed.
Like really good beer.
Like a good beer. It's the cure.
I mean, like I feel like the kind of corny one is like people jogging memory, like the one that kind of everyone uses in sitcoms. I think that's like low hanging fruit a bit. Like, get your mum to come and hug you. Like,
yeah.
Okay, so
what about
form new memories?
Okay, I mean, like, this is weird, maybe a bit weird. Like, so they're from memories of people who have been, like, killed, or I don't know whether it's going to be whether it's been murdered or...
is the phrase that I've been going with.
Yeah.
What if you have to make someone into coffee?
Like a hangover cure?
Yeah.
Okay, so hang on. Let's talk this out. The reason that the bad guy wouldn't want to cure people,
like, because he's making money.
Because they're addicted to it.
Because they're addicted to it,
right?
Right?
This is like their only source. At the point where they're like full dementia, this is their only source of memories.
And there has to be something that is trying to force or to get the cure from him, or the bar owner, I should say, from them, is trying to procure that information from them.
An antagonist of sorts.
Antagonist of sorts. And our brainy Todd needs to run away from them, fight them off, resist their inquiry into this cure.
Yeah,
right?
There's another character, right?
We're missing a character.
Maybe like the child of someone, like
it's
person who's been to the bar.
Straight edge dude.
Could it be a separate brewer?
Ooh,
I think it's a Good Burger situation. There's like
maybe it originally started like a jealousy Good Burger thing, but then he kind of like, and maybe even our main protagonist isn't necessarily super evil. Maybe they even see the darkness of their creation and go to this guy like, we need to create a cure. I need like put your hatred aside for 1 second. Like,
I've created a beast that's too it's raging too hard. Yeah. Well, to be
fair, like becoming too good for you now.
Maybe the other person is like an apprentice who's been trying to work out, like, wants to learn the secret of the beers.
Okay, so you have someone like working for you that you're hiding the murders from.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's
and
cool.
they want to know what's so special about the beers. They're trying to figure it out.
I really like the idea of there being like the actual protagonist of the story is the apprentice.
Okay.
And they find out that this is going on.
Right? Okay, fine. Yeah, I can
like
work
this
that.
as well.
Right? That puts us in a better position to have like a motivated plot. Because unfortunately what we've designed is that the central character is in a status quo that they don't want to change.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's normally not what you want for the protagonist.
Yeah.
Okay, I can work with that. You are
I have a quick thing before we throw out the villainous protagonist.
Sure.
What if they've been arrested and stopped from making the beers, and that's what's turning people into zombies?
That's what's really fucking people up.
The cure is don't stop. Never stop.
The cure is get back from jail, do some more murder, and that's, you know...
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, it's like a hangover. Like when you have a hangover, you lose your memories.
It doesn't feel like a cure. It feels like you're
the disease.
It feels more like alcoholism, and they should probably weather it.
I am also a little bit loath to just because I think it's interesting. We've got this like antagonistic.
Is it fucked up to not make it like that? They don't have to. He starts to kill someone, but instead of the brains, he uses like the hearts. Like if he uses like if he brews a different part, and he's experimented with it. He knows that there's like maybe a more refined brew that he could do if he uses other parts but he found that the most addictive qualities came from when he juiced the brains alone.
Right.
Okay, that's interesting.
I think that's somewhere along the line. It does still posit that at the end of this story, we have to kill a bunch of people and blend their hearts.
Yeah,
but,
or just one really loving person.
Yeah,
we're looking for the lovingness person.
The server, right?
Yeah.
The cure of heart
sacrifice themselves.
Okay, and it has to be someone who's like...
It has to be a sacrifice.
Yeah. I think the end of the story is that the server figures out what the cure is and like sacrifices himself, and then also tells like everyone what is happening so that it stops. Right?
It says here cure, and there's just a picture of me.
The cure is just love? Question mark.
If you think about Sweeney Todd, like that is the arc of Sweeney Todd, right? It's this like ongoing threat of
there's
being
also
uncovered.
the uncovered from like the establishment or the health code violations or things like that. Like how quickly can you murder your way out of?
The first one's a health code guy, and then the second one is
the landlord.
Sure, it's like just people that are pissing off the barkeep, right? Because that's your story. Is like at first they're standing up for themselves, and then it just like turns into they're grabbing people off the street by the end.
Yeah, it's a classic corruption of power sort of thing as they get richer selling the beers.
And sort of while that is happening, while you're running into, health code people, maybe the cops, right? Random people off the street, you're having those interactions. There's this constant threat of this person around the edges who is like looking at what you're doing.
So then why doesn't he kill him?
Yeah, that's a point.
It's his kid.
A really good point.
His kid, and then he has to sacrifice his dad.
Maybe the cure is love. It's the love that the dad has for his kid.
And like he's doing all of this to provide for the kid. Like all of this, like the big investment in the swanky establishment that I keep forgetting that this is, and imagining that it's a Sweeney Todd style tavern. But like he's like everything has been like, put money towards the kid. It's all for them. And then it just like spirals wildly out of control.
Okay, and then you've got the kid being like, Dad, where did you get this money? Dad, tell me the truth. Kind of like that slow escalation.
I did it for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
the reason why the barkeeper knows this is it through his like experimentation, he's realized that whenever he like bottles someone with like strong, I don't know, feelings of love or whatever, that cures the effects.
Okay,
right?
Let's say that he's targeting lonely people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Because like loneliness creates the most pining, the most desire, the most people who are content
and
have the
less
opposite
likely
effect.
to be like missed in the legal scheme of things as well. It works out both ways.
Yeah,
Totally.
okay. Yeah. So it's about finding someone who has a deep love, and this kid is like, sorry, Dad.
Pushes him into a vat.
I've got to push you into the vat to save the town. You know, you've brainwashed my flute teacher. You've brainwashed my geology professor.
All my
those
teachers
are the two things I'm into. I'm a flouting geologist.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to
dive in together? Does he hug and dive in
That's
together?
That's what I was
with
thinking.
him?
Maybe it's their love.
Okay.
He's gonna jump into it.
Oh, it's like a tragedy.
A tackle could be kind of a tragic ending,
That's kind of heartfelt. I like that.
Okay, so we're at a point where we've got a server, the child of the evil barkeeper. The barkeeper is developing this brainy brew, which has addicted the local populace, and it's made at first simply out of people that the barkeep hates, but over time it turns into the bartender kidnapping people, lonely people in the middle of the night to steal from them their longing and their desire, which translates into the most addictive brew. Over time, over this brewing process, the barkeep realizes that people with tender connections, or people with love in their heart, especially those with loving family members, loving spouses, etc., produce a cocktail that actually has the opposite effect. So they're trying to brew a lonely brew, and over time, the child of the bar owner learns about this and slowly picks at the threads before finally revealing the terrible sin that their parent has committed, and in an act of noble sacrifice, tackles them, kind of Batman tackling Two-Face off that building into that of delicious curing brew. And we'll just assume that all the patrons
They
lean over the bar and
Yeah, and it just automatically distills. He's got it all set up. They fall through the trapdoor. And
exactly.
like, it's just
at
like
this point, at this point, it would be like a big
it's a
trap.
Rube Goldberg machine sort of thing.
That's pretty much, I think, the general thread of the whole story. I think we've got kind of a tale to tell here. We will need to select a scene to head into the plate up with, though. So with that in mind, does anyone have a suggestion for which part of the tale they'd like to tell?
What about the first guy you killed, like the FDA guy?
I think we can kind of all see that in our heads. I think that might work quite well.
Yeah.
Okay. No resistance at all. Everyone's nodding. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that as the...
That's an answer.
It's a good scene, you know?
All right. Well,
you're just killing a guy, right? It's fun.
Straight up doing a big old murder. Okay.
And turning him into beer. It's fun. It's just funny.
Without further ado, let's distill a plate up. Off we go. Blub, 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 blub. Gleaming Art Deco fit-out, copper distillery replete with all the brewing bells and whistles, a gold-trimmed bar made of black marble, and a library of spirits, liqueurs, wines, downlighting, uplighting, Corinthian leather, crystal glasses. No expense had been spared in the realization of your dream, a high-end microbrewery to serve the most discerning of beverage buyers. You'd put everything into this place, with the hope that this establishment would fund the only thing you loved more than your brew-based ambitions, your dear child, Janiel, who now served the patrons of your establishment. Janiel would one day benefit from the risks you'd taken in opening this place, or at least that had been your hope. But as this damnable health inspector solemnly snoops through your precious distillery, that dream is imperiled. They saunter, coldly calculating, sliding their finger on each surface and tutting, scribbling secret judgments on their damned clipboard. Not looking good, afraid to say. You are aware that your pipe joints are completely amateur, not regulation at all. Pretty sure I saw some potential for contamination. Some of those vats are just left open. And clearly, you didn't read the memo about city hydrant codes. Not looking good at all.
Your stomach twists. It's been a rocky inspection from the start, but now it's all but assured that the health inspector won't let this pass. The countless nights you spent painstakingly decorating, now for naught. Please, you beg, shuffling towards the man. Give me another day. I'll have it all sorted. He gives a bland expression you can only achieve from a career spent ending people's dreams. Your shoulders slump and he makes a move towards the door. Without thinking, you step to block him, feet sliding on their own. He goes to walk around you, but you grab his arm, reaching for the clipboard. Again, you plead with him. He's shaking, you notice. Shaking your arms violently to remove them from his clipboard. When had you walked across the other side of the room? Something loosened and the health inspector began to fall back. You didn't feel him let go, but now you had the clipboard and a little more time to convince him to keep your bar open.
No!
The thud rattled the entire vat. You could probably get the body out, reach in and pull him out to give him some chance of survival. You think this, and watch his body slowly sinking into the brew.
You can still hear the ringing in your ears, the sickening crack, the echoing splash. The body going suddenly limp plays out again and again in your mind. God, what have you done? What manner of hellish beast are you? It was an accident! An accident! The churn and bubble of the distillation machines interrupts the churn and bubble of your thoughts. There's a hole in the world like a great black pit. You look down at the clipboard and pen in your hands, then beyond to the body, floating in the vat. You were forced. How hard you've worked, how hard you've struggled, all to provide for your Janiel, to attend Bruniversity, all to give him a good life. You have to do something. Hide the body, hide the evidence. Cover it all up, make it okay. Pale, sweating, heart racing, what to do? The world stinks of hops and the ink of his pen feels like blood on your hands. You can't think straight. You're not a killer. All you know how to do, all you've ever known how to do is brew beer.
As you wander aimlessly around your dimly lit distillery, consumed by panic, the machinery behind you whirs into motion. The vat spins, bubbles, froths, the body floating within, pulled by the whirlpool that forms at its center. Pistons whir and fire, steam blows, and then, all of a sudden, the vat's liquid glows a dark, ominous red. The conveyor belt located below a connected tap spins up, and empty beer bottles begin to march their way down the line. Glowing red liquid, freshly distilled, pours into each bottle, which are then perfunctorily sealed with a cap. You notice none of this as you march to and fro, tearing at your hair, muttering incessantly to yourself. As the first full bottle clinks into place at the end of the line, you instinctually grab at it, completely unaware of its origin, seeking only to affirm to yourself that you can do something right. You can make a fine brew. As you gulp at its iridescent contents, your eyes follow the trail back up the line, back towards the vat where you can still spot a pair of leather shoes spinning idly at the top. For a brief moment, you're almost overcome by disgust, but soon that's replaced by an overwhelming desire to keep drinking more and more. You crack another bottle, and then another, and before long you're drunk on Health Inspector Brew 101, cackling madly to yourself on the floor of your distillery as a plan begins to form within your mind.
Woohoo!
Okay, a murderous narrative that we've concocted. Barry, your influence on us has been lethal.
Yeah, nasty stuff, man.
I thought I was going to come in and, well, to be fair, I brought a prompt about tactics.
Let's not put this on Barry. You're right. I do believe it was the standard hook cooks that introduced the horror in this one. Indeed, a lethal episode. Thank you for all of you out there in the listening world for joining us here in the Hook Cook Kitchen. And of course, thank you to Barry for joining us as well. If you do have a prompt out there that you'd like us to turn into an episode, something like Barry's provided us, Synapse on tap, shoot that through to cooksofhooks@gmail.com or use @hook_cooks for the socials. Barry, would you like to take this opportunity here at the end of the episode to maybe give a little bit of a plug-ola?
Yeah, please. Look, if you like this podcast, you probably enjoy our one as well. It's called Blockblunders. It's also sort of collaborative storytelling aligned. We pull apart like pop culture and movies and re-establish them into a film that we haven't seen. And yeah, I mean, if you want to follow us, we are on Instagram. We are at Blockblunders on Instagram, and we post episodes every Wednesday.
If you enjoyed this episode, it's probably mostly because of our wonderful guests. So rather than giving us a like, a subscribe, a rating, or a review, why don't you just go listen to Blockblunders and then do those things, and do those things for Barry's podcast, and then do it for both of us. Do it for your family.
A wholesome suggestion, as always, Mitch. Thank you for the a broad call to action, and thank you to Holizna, who we thank for our opening theme, Sailing Away, and of course, thank you to Jack's mum.
Thanks, Mom.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jack's mum.
I've been Connor, your larder critter.
My name is Dishbot, and tonight I played the role of Jack.
And I am Barry Walsh, one half of Blockblunders.
Thank you. I am Mitch the Monster Chef. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for joining us. I hope we're all happy, boys. Are we happy?
Yes, Chef.
Yes, chef.
Yes, chef.
You've absolutely bombed that one. Do you want to take it again, or maybe we just give this to Vinny?
Let's give it to Vinny.
Let Vinny deal with it. That's our
that's the general vibe.
That's the guest's last word.
Vinny is our hero.
Save
Sorry,
us.
Vinny.
Save
Save us from ourselves.